My name is Jennifer Williams, and I started a company called Cuddle Clones, which makes stuffed animals that look like your pet and a bunch of other custom pet products.
And I'm Alli Truttmann. I'm the founder and CEO of Wicked Sheets. We make comfort sleep solutions for folks suffering from night sweats and hot flashes.
So Cuddle Clones started as an idea when I had a Great Dane named Rufus. He was a Harlequin, so that's a white base with a bunch of black spots and patterns everywhere, and he had two different color eyes. He had a brown eye and a blue eye, and I was just kind of lounging around on him one day and thought to myself, oh, it'd be really cool to have a stuffed animal of you. And I was thinking, okay. Didn't do anything with the idea. I wasn't an entrepreneur at the time. I had a full-time job as an actuary doing a bunch of number stuff, and didn't actually think about the idea again until I entered into an MBA program at the University of Louisville, and it was entrepreneurship focused. And so one of the first things we had to do in school for the semester was keep an idea journal. And at the end of that semester, we had to present to the class what we thought our top 2 ideas were. And that was kind of always one in the back of my mind. I'm like, I want to make stuffed animals of people's pets. And most people thought that was a little bit crazy and weird. But other people would be like, oh my God, I would totally buy that. So that was kind of my market research. That was about it. We didn't really do a lot of customer discovery back then. It wasn't even really a word. But some of the students in my class and I made it into our school project. So for the next 2 years, we did a bunch of the academic exercises, so industry analyses and trying to write a business plan. And of course, like when you're students and don't know anything, your business plan is pretty idealistic, and oh, we'll sell our company for $40 billion in year 5. So that was really fun. But at the end of the program, we definitely learned a lot, and we were fortunate to have a little bit of funding in some cash prizes from some business plan competitions that we had done. So there were a couple of us on the team that decided to kind of go their own way. You know, they weren't super passionate about, becoming an entrepreneur. They just, went back to their day jobs. But my co-founder, Adam Green, and I kept going. So we spent another 2 years figuring out how to manufacture a stuffed animal that looks like someone's pet. And it was quite challenging. We had a lot of interesting prototypes along the way. Finally ended up kind of opening up our own workshop with designers to make them by hand. And we launched our website officially in 2013, and we've done a pretty good job of growing over the years. So we had a couple good years at first. We had a flat year between 2016 and 2017, but then 18 and 19 have been pretty strong growth, like doubling every year. So, yeah.
What Wicked Sheets?
Yeah, so Wicked Sheets, we're an e-commerce company. We've been solely e-commerce since our inception in 2008. So we make moisture wicking and cooling bed sheets. They actually outperform cotton in various ways. So they wick away 6 times more moisture than cotton. They dry 4 times faster. They're 3 times more breathable, 3 degrees cooler to the touch, hypoallergenic, all the good stuff. But really, it started in my 1-bedroom apartment in Louisville, Kentucky. I think I've always been an entrepreneur, but I was also doing another job when I actually had an injury. I tore my ACL playing soccer. I found myself bedridden, and as I was going through that rehabilitation process, I was constantly waking up with wet bed sheets. And going and visiting my doctor after various tests and things, we found out I had this thing called hyperhidrosis, which a lot of the population has. But I think it's 190 million people have varieties of hyperhidrosis with sweaty palms, sweaty feet. Am I sweating right now? Yeah. Sweaty armpits, groins, but secondary hyperhidrosis is actually a form of night sweats. So I actually found out very quickly that I was like a lot of other people, and a lot of other people were like me in that they were waking up to wet bedding. And when you think about how important sleep is, it's all pervasive. You need to have a good night's sleep in order to be a performer the next day, in order to keep your health up, in order to have cells rehabilitate, and in order to just be a generally nice person. And so I abandoned my career as a child psychologist after a joke I made at a family function. I was at Easter brunch with my cousin who was pregnant in her 2nd trimester, and I was like, what are we gonna do? I'm sweating so profusely. We found out that hyperhidrosis is a genetic thing. And she was like, well, just wait till you get pregnant. It's going to get worse. And then, my mom's like, wait till you have menopause. And I'm thinking, my life is going to be terrible. How am I ever going to get married and invite some gentleman back to my house if I have wet bed sheets? We've got to fix this. And so at that moment, my cousin's husband walked past wearing a Nike dry fit golf shirt. And I just made a suggestion. I was like, you're going to come home one day. I'm going to be in your closet, cutting up your golf shirts, and I'm going to sew them into bed sheets. And we'll finally sleep cool and dry. And the family, all erupts into laughter. But my dad looks at me and you kind of always just need that nod. And he's like, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Is anybody else doing it? And so being the newbie entrepreneur coming out in the business world, thankfully I was blessed with the gift of gab. I picked up the phone, I called some other folks that had run businesses before, and I'm like, what do I need to do to start this business? And so I was very fortunate early on to find people that would help me for free and led me down the path of finding the fabric, finding the manufacturer, finding the funding. We're a relatively small e-commerce company still. We've raised about $1.2 million to date, and that has just been a byproduct of probably the region that we're in. But I've been very fortunate with PR appearances. We were on QVC last year 4 times, which has probably been the peak of the business. But after that, I call it a debacle with pricing with them, we decided to go back and go focus on our roots, which is being a direct-to-consumer product that helps people suffering from night sweats and hot flashes. So this year, we're on a beautiful hockey stick curve up, and I'm hoping to ramp up until the point that we're ready to sell.
We met probably 5-6 years ago.
I think so.
I would say, just in the Louisville entrepreneurship community, which is a pretty tight-knit community.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knows each other. But Alli and I kind of just were acquaintances. But we had a mutual friend that also had an e-commerce business, and he decided that it might be useful and fun to get a small group of consumer product e-commerce CEOs together in a room like once a month. So he started this peer group. Alli and I were 2 girls and four guys in the group, so we kind of naturally bonded, and we've been having the group meetings ever since. So
it's the greatest support system for an entrepreneur to have someone that you can commiserate with but learn from at the same time. I since I was in mental health before, I truly believe that everybody benefits from seeing a therapist. But in terms of business, this e-commerce group where we talk about, anything from
business
hiring,
therapy.
Yeah, it's like business therapy, hiring, or this is what some customer did, what's your return policy, but being surrounded by people that also just speak products language is really beneficial.
Yeah, because like some of the other groups, in town you have to pay for, but then it's kind of broader groups where, you're in with other CEOs of companies of, say, a family business that's in painting, and you're like, well, we don't really have that much in common. So the fact that we had an e-commerce group, we can say very specific things like, what do you do when a customer says their package didn't arrive, and so we talk through what we all do in that situation.
It's been great, and
accountability
too. Yeah, accountability has been key in that group too. Like everybody gets to go around and say for 30 minutes what they're dealing with, give their update, and then our group's on a group me chat, and we check in with each other regularly, like how did that issue resolve or whatnot. So it's been great. Entrepreneurship is extremely, it's a huge fact, extremely lonely place. And a lot of times you feel like you're the only person going through what you're going through. But when you find a group like this, you realize you're not. Because a lot of times in your business, as you're growing, you're gonna have to make a ton of decisions and wear a lot of different hats that you don't feel comfortable in. I mean, like child psychology to now I clear my QuickBooks at the end of every month. How, that just doesn't resonate, right? But you have to learn, and you feel like you're the only person that's ever been down that road. But when you talk to somebody else in the community, you're like, someone else has done this before. Oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And then you can, I always say, shorten the learning curve by learning from somebody else.
Yeah, one other thing I'd add is, I think when you're younger, just starting out, you have this fear that if you tell people your idea, that people are gonna steal it.
Yes.
That is like so far from the truth, because no one has time to freaking steal your idea and start a business. Like, it's really not that easy where, oh, that's a great idea, and then the next morning, you know, they have a business.
Then
like,
they go raise
it's just not going to
$300,000.
happen. So anybody who's scared to network or connect with people because they're afraid someone will steal their idea should get rid of that notion right now. And if it's that easy to steal, maybe come up with a different idea that's a little more niche, or, you know, you have some sort of competitive advantage.